So, percentiles. You may have heard of percentiles. There are a couple places they come up fairly often, which I'll mention as we go along. But the percentile for a particular score is what percentage of all the scores fall below that one. For example, the median is the same as the 50th percentile value. The median is the score right in the middle of a set of scores. So half of all the scores are below the median. And since half is 50%, and 50% of all the values are below the median, that makes the median the 50th percentile. If you took a test and your score corresponded to the 90th percentile, that doesn't necessarily mean that you got 90% of the points or 90% of the questions right, but it would mean that you did better than 90% of the people who took the test. So that's pretty high relative to all of the test scores. So percentiles are often reported if you take a standardized test, like the ACT test or the SAT. So here's a little chart I found from the 2017-2018 year. So if you took the ACT test in that year and got, say, a score of 24 on the English ACT test, this table says that corresponds to the 74th percentile, and that would tell you that your score on that test was better than or higher than 74% of the people who took that test. So percentiles tell you how you did or how high your score is relative to all the other people who took that test. What percentage of them your score was above. Another place you might see percentiles is for children as they are growing up and getting bigger, and you want to compare how tall they are or how heavy they are to other kids of the same age. You wouldn't just say, oh, that kid's tall for his age. You might say, well, that kid's in the whatever percentile for his age range. So a chart like this might show for a boy of a particular age, 4 years old or 10 years old or whatever. If you look at how tall that boy is, or in this case, how heavy that boy is, how many pounds or kilograms he weighs, you can see what percentile that would put him at. So if he's at the 50th percentile, he's heavier than 50% of the boys his age. If he's in the 10th percentile, he's only heavier than 10% of the boys his age. So he's pretty small or pretty lightweight for his age. So here's how percentiles are determined. If you have a list of numbers, a list of data values, and you want to come up with the percentile for one of those data values, here's how that's calculated. You count up the number of values that are below that one, and then you add on 0.5 or 1/2. The idea behind that is, do you count X itself as being below itself? Well, it's sort of half below and half above. So this is to account for that. So you count up the number of values below the one you're interested in, add on 1/2 or 0.5, and then divide by the total number of values, and then multiply by 100% to kind of convert it to a percent. So let's try an example. In this set of scores right here that we've seen before, this set of 10 scores of people in Class B, what percentile corresponds to 82? So remember, first we have to count up how many of these scores are below 82. Well, it looks like there's two of them. There's the 81 and the 35s. Might be easier to tell if they were arranged in order. So if if I rearrange them in order from lowest to highest, now it's obvious, okay, there's 2 of these that are below 82. And how many values are there in all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for the percentile, we take 2 plus 0.5, that is 2.5, and we divide it by 10, and then we multiply by 100. And that comes out to be 25, so that would be the 25th percentile. So the 82 here corresponds to the 25th percentile. Okay, let's try another one. What percentile corresponds to 90 in this set of scores? How many values are below 90? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many values are there in all? Well, still 10. So for the percentile, we take 8.5 divided by 10 times 100. That comes out to be 85. So the 85th percentile. Now, what about if we wanted to go the other way? Like if I said, which one of these scores corresponds to the 85th percentile? The answer would be the 90. So here's how you do that, finding which value corresponds to a given percentile. So you're going to want to start by arranging the data in order from lowest to highest, and then calculate C equals N times P divided by 100, where N stands for the total number of values, how many scores you have in all, and P stands for the percentile that you're interested in. So you're taking the number of values times the percentile divided by 100. Now that is not your final answer. Your final answer is one of the values on your list of scores, and C tells you which one it is, where to look on your list for that final answer. So here's how that works. If what you get for C is not a whole number, like if it has something after the decimal point, round it up to the next highest whole number. And that tells you where to look on your list of values. The final answer is the Cth value on the list of data. Like, for example, if C came out to be 3.6, you would round that up to 4, and the answer would be the 4th value on the list. Now, if C is a whole number, then your final answer is going to be the number that's halfway between the Cth and C plus 1th values on the list. So this is kind of like when you're finding the median. Sometimes the median is one of the numbers. So if you have an odd number of values, the median is the one that's right in the middle. And sometimes the median is halfway between 2 of the values. If you have an even number of values, the median is halfway between the 2 that are in the middle. So let's look at an example or two. For this set of data here, 69, 70, 73, and so on up to 96, this set of scores, which is the 35th percentile? So remember, we got to calculate C, which is N times P divided by 100. N stands for how many numbers there are in this list of values. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're taking 12 times 35 divided by 100. And that comes out to be 4.2. So since that's not a whole number, we round it up to the next highest whole number, which would be 5. And that tells us where to look on this list for the final answer. It's the 5th number on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like the 5th number on the list is 77. So it's 77 that corresponds to the 35th percentile. Okay, let's try another one. Same set of data. Which one of these is the 75th percentile? What's the 75th percentile for this list of scores? So again, we start by calculating n times p divided by 100. N is how many scores there are, which is 12. P is the percentile we're asking about, which is 75. And so 12 times 75 divided by 100 is 9. And that is a whole number. So in that case, we need to look at what's between the 9th and 10th values. The 9th value on the list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, is 84. And then the one after that is 88. So we need to take what's halfway between 84 and 88, which would be 86. So that's percentiles. There's one more main topic in this section, and that is quartiles. So I'm going to end this video here and come back in part 3 and talk about quartiles, what those are and how to find those.